Assalamualaikum and good day everyone, especially those of you from the maritime industry. I'm Mazlinawati Abdul Majid, a researcher from the Centre for Economic and Industry, Maritime Institute of Malaysia, MIMA. Thank you MIMA TV for having me today. I would like to give an overview of Malaysia's halal port terminals. This is a very good topic to further discuss the port sector from an Islamic perspective relating to Shariah compliance involving transportation and logistics of the supply chain. Firstly, what is halal port terminal landscape and what is its role in the port sector? The halal industry is expanding in two areas, halal goods and halal services. The concept of the industry is based on the values drawn from an Islamic perspective, which are categorized as Shariah compliant. Halal goods consist of both food and non-food components, which include cosmetics, pharmaceuticals, health products, food and beverages. While examples of halal services are education, logistics, consultations and training, marketing, electronic media, travel and tourism, and banking and finance. Logistics play an essential role in assuring the integrity of halal goods from the point of consumption tracing back to the supply chain. Logistics operations generally include outbound and inbound transportation, management, warehousing, order fulfillment, fleet management, materials handling, inventory management, logistics network design, and demand or supply planning. In this context, halal logistics is defined as a collection of systems for managing transportation, procurement, storage, and materials handlings, such as livestock, semi-finished inventories, and many more based on Shariah regulations. Penang Port was awarded the MS 1900 from SIRIM in May 2009, and Penang Port was the first port in Malaysia to achieve the MS 1900 2005 Quality Management System requirements from Islamic perspective standard for container handling and dedicated warehousing services within Penang Port. The certificate confirms that the port's activities are halal and Shariah compliant. Northport has become the first Malaysian port to be awarded the halal certification by the Halal Industry Development Corporation. A status is believed will help shippers and shipping lines tap into the $500 billion or 1.68 trillion ringgit Malaysia global halal industry market. Here, we can say that port operations, halal status communication, loading requirements, halal storage at port, livestock handling, cargo inspection, and cleanliness are crucial for the future halal industries. Since Malaysia implemented the Malaysia Standard on Halal Food MS 1500 in 2004, Malaysia has become a significant player in the international halal market and also in global standards. Thus, this port's success may be used as a model for future halal terminals and supply chains. The drivers for halal port terminals are Muslim population and demand and supply. The Muslim population reached about 1.8 billion in 2020, accounting for approximately 24% of the global population. Based on the 2020 Malaysia demographics profile, Muslims constitute 61% of the Malaysia population. Thus, a halal port terminal is not a new concept to the country. The concept of halal port terminals arose from user concern about the integrity of their consumption from the source to the purchase. Thus, this made ports begin to implement a halal supply chain system to ensure the concept would thrive in Malaysian ports by conducting, sorting and discriminating between halal and non-halal items. In 2006, Malaysia launched the Global Halal Hub Expo to encourage halal producers and manufacturers to export their goods and to benefit the country by driving halal repackaging and export to other countries. Enforcing a halal supply chain will bring added value to ports and the country. The halal industry expansion has created a competitive environment in which not only ASEAN nations like Malaysia, Brunei, Thailand and the Philippines are participating, but nations like United Arab Emirates in the Middle East, United States in the West and France in Europe are participating too in the halal business today. Ideally, the halal supply chain should form an interdependence of value-added activities that will transform input into output and finally gain a competitive advantage. The entire chain should be supported by the procurement process, human resource development, R&D and corporate business infrastructure. The most distinguishing aspect of the halal supply chain is that there should be no doubt about the integrity of the halal chain of goods. There must be a clear distinction between halal and non-halal items. Of course, when we want to implement something new, there will be challenges and we need to identify them. In this situation, the challenges may come from: first, segregation of halal and non-halal goods. Halal and non-halal goods are not sorted when they arrive at ports, raising concern about the mixing of halal and non-halal goods in the same container. This affects consumers who are looking to purchase goods and the overall global halal industry, notably in Malaysia, Indonesia and Islamic countries. Consumers are also unaware of the comings and goings of the ports and supply chain logistics. Consumers tend to believe that halal goods are made in Muslim countries and not compromised in integrity. However, there is no method to ensure or preserve the integrity of halal goods. Second, halal standards and procedures. The challenges facing port management today are halal certification inconsistency, high cost and low demand for halal processes, insufficient Shariah compliant personnel, and the lack of a universally halal compliant process. Halal certification is often fraught with issues and challenges. This comes from the labeling and the process of getting the certificate. Halal items or products should be labelled. This is how the products can communicate with port workers. When workers see the label, they think, oh, halal items. So, it's easy to segregate the items. In certification, the main issues are operational inefficiency and halal governance. Halal governance is regarded as challenging with Malaysia's halal certification system, specifically due to the separation of authority between the federal government and the state governments in Malaysia, because these issues are always highlighted by researchers. It should not compete with the conventional ports. Rather, it is the conventional port sector that should provide halal terminals, including the storage and transportation and logistic supply chain. What I can see is it involves many stakeholders. Collaboration should take place between port operations, industry players and the logistic industry. But at the same time, Malaysia should acknowledge their capacity and ability to do so. These players must understand each other. There must be many engagement to ensure that Malaysia's halal port terminals and supply chain will benefit all parties. It would not be fair to unilaterally decide to develop a halal port terminal, especially to the industry players, stakeholders and the government. Of course, an avenue to grow the economy and industry is enticing, but the undertaking must be comprehensive and just, conducted through discussions, support and ethical and comprehensive research to effectively communicate its purpose and how it can be achieved. MIMA can provide comprehensive studies and research on the benefits of halal port terminals. In terms of policy, we will be able to provide research-based consultations on strategies and plans, as well as the way forward to the government on how to develop a national halal port terminal. An in-depth approach will guarantee that every party contributing to the development of halal port terminals in Malaysia can grow together. With that, I end my review. Thank you. Have a good day.